Hello, in this video we're going to walk through how to get your Workday data into KNIME. In this video we're going to go over some basic assumptions about some of the knowledge that you need to have before you might be able to do some of these tasks. We're going to quickly go through a demo, which is really just going to be a mock-up of what you would need to do once you have all the data that you need. We're going to go through some example errors and issues that we face while setting this up, and then some helpful links that we found as part of this process. So to get started, there's a few basic assumptions that need to be made before we can jump right into the demonstration. One, that you know how to use Workday Report Writer, and you know how to set up your advanced reports as a RAS report or report as a service within Workday. The other piece that you need to know is how to set up an integration system user and set up the security needed to pull in RAS reports from outside systems. If you need any support with this, please reach out to your Workday admin or reach out to Workday for their support. Now, in this demonstration that we're going to go through, we cannot connect to an actual Workday tenant because that would involve connecting to private data and PII. So we're just going to show you what you would need to do to set this up and go through the steps, but we won't actually be able to pull in any data as part of this demonstration. So to get started, we're going to go into our KNIME workspace, and the first thing that we need to do is pull in the get node, the get request node. So the first thing that you'll need is the URL for your RAS report. One helpful piece of information that we found that we can share is this link here, which will be shared on the slides. In this process, they show you how to pull in your RAS report. The most important thing is the URL that you need to get from your RAS report. In this example, this URL has the JSON format. We normally use the XML format just because we find it easier to pull that in. But when you're pulling your RAS report and collecting the URL, you can select from all these different options. We use the simple XML for our examples, but you can pull in the JSON format, you can pull in CSV. Any of these formats can be set up as a URL endpoint like below. So when you have that URL, you would paste that here as part of the GET request. And then the other piece that you need is this authentication section. So you would set up the basic authentication, and this is where the ISU or the integration system user comes into play. You need to know the username and password of your ISU. Once you have that information, all you need to do is click apply and OK, and then you should be able to run this GET request, and you should be able to see data as part of the GET request output. And that's it. For this example here that we're demonstrating, we would pull in a XML, and then we would use the XPath to pull in the specific fields that we would want to see as part of our report. Some basic errors and issues that we found while setting this up is just Workday setup. So making sure that you have the right security. So the integration system user needs to have access to the actual fields and the report that you're trying to pull. Make sure that your authentication policy allows for your ISU to log in and to pull in that data. And then basic report building, so making sure that the RAS report is set up correctly and all those pieces within the Workday tenant. One issue that we did found as part of the KNIME setup is when you go to set up your GET request, sometimes it takes a little too long to run and it will time out. So you can extend this timeout period and allow this to run a little bit longer, and this will allow the integration to pull in the data from the GET request. You might see a timeout error if it takes too long, so you might need to extend that time here. And then just general path setup. Once you pull in the data into the GET request, there still will need to be some cleanup that you'll need to do to make sure that it's in a format that you can use. And then finally, here are just some helpful links that we have and that we found while setting up this process. Please reach out to us if you have any questions, and we hope that you found this video helpful.